Well, good evening, AP Physics students. Mr. Gerson coming at you here, and welcome to your very first AP Physics flipped video of the year. We're excited to get a new year going. Have no fear, though these videos are usually less than 10 minutes apiece. Usually do about 3 of them a week, so settle in here, and we're going to talk a little bit of dimensional analysis, scientific notation, and the metric system here. Most of today's video should be a little bit of review, but without saying too much more, we're just going to go ahead and get started. First of all, just want to tell you guys kind of how the homeworks work here. Alright, so tonight we got homework number 1, and it looks like we got about 8 sections to read. The section numbers are at the top of the book in red. Tonight's reading is much longer than usual, 8 sections, but I think most of it is review. It's things like the scientific method, scientific notation, SI units, that type of thing. At the end of each chapter, there are some questions. Now, the questions tend to be conceptual in nature, so the answers to these typically require not numbers, but maybe an explanation or for you to think about a concept. So when you answer those in your notebooks, try to use complete sentences and express complete ideas. And then, of course, some problems, which are your typical, science-type problems where you'd be showing your work and your analysis, and that type of thing. So, I hope that makes sense for what the assignment is. And without any further ado, what I typically do in these videos is I do one of your problems for you. So today we are going to do problem number 22 out of your textbook. So if you just kind of follow along and write this down in your notebook, you will have one of your 6 or 7 problems done for tonight. Okay? And I usually try to pick a problem that's, a typical problem from the sections that talks about lots of ideas. Okay? So, here we go. Question 1 says, problem 22, and it talks about a light year. And there's 3 parts, and in part A, the question asks, how many meters are in a light year? And it tells us that light travels 2.998 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. Notice this number's in scientific notation, meaning we just have a number that's between 1 and 10 and a exponent there. Okay? So we're going to do a little bit of dimensional analysis here. We want to know how many meters light would travel in 1 full year. So to figure that out, we're going to have to figure out how many seconds there are in 1 year, and then we'll multiply the number of seconds in 1 year times meters per second to figure out how many meters are in a light year. So I'm going to start by writing down what I know. I know that light travels a certain distance in 1 year, and I want to know how many seconds this is. So I'm going to write that over here. And then I'm going to write down some conversion factors, right? This should be some review here. So for instance, there are 365 and 1/4 days in 1 year, if you count leap years. I put years on the bottom here so that they will cancel out. In 1 day, there are 24 hours. In 1 hour, there are 60 minutes, and in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Notice here, I have the unit I want up top, and all the other units that I don't want, I've written out in such a way so that they cancel out. So you've got a unit on the top and the bottom that cancel out. And if I multiply all the numbers on top and divide all the numbers in bottom, I find that in 1 year there are 31,557,600 seconds. Okay? So just multiply it across the top there. So if I go up here to my meters per second, and I multiply this 2.998 times 10 to the 8th meters per second times 31,557,600 seconds. Notice again here that the units of seconds cancels out, and I'm left with just the units meters, which is what I want. And I find that there are 9.460 times 10 to the 15th meters in 1 light year. Notice I only kept 4 significant figures here because that's how many digits were in my original number. All right. Okay, so a little review there on dimensional analysis and unit conversion and scientific notation. All right. Okay, part B says how many astronomical units are in 1 light year. And it tells us that an astronomical unit is equal to the distance from the Earth to the Sun, which is about 1.5 times 10 to the 8th kilometers. So to solve this problem, again, I could write down the information I know first, which is how many meters are in a light year. And then I want to convert this into astronomical units. Well, I don't have a direct conversion between astronomical units and meters, but I do know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer, right? And how do I know that? Well, I know that the metric prefix of kilo means 1,000, along with lots of other metric prefixes. And don't worry, you won't ever have to memorize those. Those are on your table of information that you get to use on the AP test. And we're also told that 1.0 astronomical units is equal to 1.5 times 10 to the 8th kilometers. And again, notice here that the units I don't want, like meters and kilometers, cancel out. And I'm left with the unit I do want, astronomical units. I would then type into my calculator this number, divided by this number, divided by that number, and I would get here 6.3 times 10 to the 4th astronomical units. Notice only 2 significant figures here because I only have 2 significant figures in this number here. You always, when you're multiplying and dividing, you only keep the least number of significant figures. All right, and last but not least here, let's do part C here. They want us to convert the speed of light in meters per second into astronomical units per hour. So we are going, this is kind of a double dimensional analysis problem. We're going to have to be working on converting the units in both the top and the bottom here. So I'm in meters per second. I want to get to astronomical units per hour. So I could once again say that in 1 astronomical unit there are 1.5 times 10 to the 8th kilometers. But kilometers and meters don't cancel, so I'm going to have to throw in a 1 kilometer is 10 to the 3rd or 1,000 meters. Okay, and so far I've gotten meters to go away and kilometers to go away, so I have astronomical units per second, but I don't want that. I want astronomical units per hour, so I would put 60 seconds on top, 1 minute on the bottom, 60 minutes on the top, 1 hour on the bottom, and seconds are going to cancel out, and minutes will cancel out, and I'm left with astronomical units per hour. So this is 7.2 astronomical units per hour. And when you come to class tomorrow, you can always, when you get in your groups, you can double check your answers with your group mates. Also, I will have available for your group to peruse an answer book. that you can check your answers with also. Okay? Nice work, AP Physics students. You've successfully watched your first video of the year. Great work. Keep up the excellent work, and we will see you tomorrow in class. Nice work, physicists.